Hey guys, I'm back with another video. This time it is just an easy one. So, obviously, I've been away for 2 months. I haven't done a video for quite a while. That's because I've been going through some stuff, but I'm officially back again. So, it's time to get back into it, get back into my videos, doing reviews and stuff. Maybe depending on the confidence, I might do a singing video because I said that in my last one I would. But just for now, I'm happy to be back, and that is the main thing. So tonight's video is about the the London trip that I went to in March, which was literally on the weekend just before my birthday. So I was there for 4 days and 3 nights, and the last day actually turned out to be my birthday. so so yeah, that was pretty good. So this bit, bah, I can speak one day. This video is basically just my trip to London again. It's the second Comic Con I've went to over there, and quite frankly, it was brilliant. Not as busy as what I would have thought it'd have been. Seemed a little bit less popular this time round, which I'm not entirely sure why. But then again, sometimes spring Comic Cons or the summer ones or even the winter ones, they could be completely different to how they are. But this one was just a two days event again, which I don't mind. I like that. I don't think I could do a 3 day Comic Con. It would be well, I think it would be a bit too much. So, firstly, I went there on the 3rd of March, which was a Friday, just to get ready for the Comic Con, because you've got to be prepared. Like, literally. And, well, on the first day, let's just say I had to do a little bit of a catch up, meaning go to Forbidden Planet. Because the last time me and my best friend Ben went there, we were there for what? 5 minutes. All it was, 5 minutes, or even not that. Just have a quick look around, and that was it. But I went in there, and my God, I underestimated it. Like, I think I must have spent about 45 minutes in there, just, well, admiring it, really. In fact, I felt like I had a heart attack when I saw certain sections. I was like, what? It was a hell of a surprise. I have been to the one in Newcastle. This one didn't even compare to Newcastle. It was huge. It was like a big, massive warehouse. I'm not joking. If a warehouse had a warehouse upon books and merchandise, that's your Forbidden Planet right there. That is that. uh, and surprisingly, I actually spent 66 quid in there. Oops. This was one of them. This was a part of it. 17.99 I paid for this. I also bought a couple of books though. I didn't just spend 66 quid on this. No way. Yeah, that would be pretty mad if I did that. Yeah, there's probably going to be a bit of judgment there, but yeah. But anyway, no. So this was my second Comic Con in London, and I only went by myself this time, so it was a little bit lonely this time round. But it was pretty good. I had a lot of fun again. It was good to see all of the merchandise again. Good to see people in cosplay. Good to see the celebrities, and by God, did I see some celebrities! One of them, unfortunately, he couldn't make it. Well, in fact, a few people couldn't make it, but some of them were just, I wouldn't have even known who they were, but there was like some last minute announcements saying they couldn't go. But one of them who I missed out on was Terry Mallow, who played Davros back in the 80s in Doctor Who. And to be honest, I was a little bit sad about that because he was one who I was really looking forward to meeting. But you know what? It was still a good weekend, and I made the most of it because that's what you do. And no, I didn't buy anything at the Comic Cons. I didn't get any merchandise again, which I should have. I seriously need to learn. Mhm. And also, I might put a little bit into there of my most recent Comic Con, which was at the end of March, so I might put a bit into that. But no, so the day of the Comic Con, absolutely brilliant. The first day, the Saturday. So to begin with, I had to look around for about an hour because that's what you do. I just had to look around, and yes, already my legs were starting to kill, and my back as well. God, that flooring, they need carpets. um, so about 10 o'clock or something like that, I went to a Sylvester McCoy talk. Um, rather a Q&A. So I've met him before. So really, yeah, been there, done that. But then again, I wanted to see him again. I wanted to see the Q&A because it's always good to just hear what other people ask him and what his experiences was like. And yeah, even though he got screwed over, it's still good that he can have a laugh out of it. It is pretty admirable, despite all the rubbish he was put through. But no, then my first photo came along. So as usual, before the event, I was looking through who was going and who would have been announced. But one of the big names who I was really looking forward to meeting, and in fact, this person was actually one who I was really wanting to meet. Now, unfortunately, they didn't have any of the doctors there who I really wanted to meet, like Christopher Eccleston or Peter Capaldi, but that doesn't matter because I ended up meeting one of the versions of the Master. No, it's not this one, but it was the most recent version of him, and that was Sacha Dhawan. Now, that for me was brilliant because he was actually my very first Master who I met, and really that was just incredible. Like, honestly, it was brilliant meeting him. I was even shocked by it myself because I knew that he was at the Spring Comic Con last year with Geordie over there, and I was gutted that I missed the chance to meet him, but clearly not. Clearly not. So I recognised him as well from the 2013 documentary An Adventure in Space and Time, and he played Waris Hussein in that. So he was like I think he was a director back in the 1960s in Doctor Who, and yeah, that was just incredible to meet him. I got to chat with him as well a little bit. I told him about him being my first Master and that his performance in Doctor Who was just fantastic because honestly, it was. I loved him as this version. Like, it was completely different and very unique, but also he had a bit of similarity to the other selves. He even admitted that he had no idea who the Master was before he took on the role, and I said to him, I thought that was unbelievable because he clearly knew what he was doing. But no, he was a pleasure to talk to. He was absolutely lovely, and I ended up getting this as well, his autograph. I chose this one because, well, it was a bit hard to find a lot of them. There was so many to choose from. um, but the next person who I met, now, this one was a surprise for me as well to be meeting this person. In fact, I found out that they were going maybe about a month. Yeah, it was about a month before I went. So it's pretty good for me. And this person, I actually also knew them from Hollyoaks back in the day. But this person as well was actually one of the very most recent companions of the Doctor, and honestly, I've always wanted to meet one from this era. I've met classic companions. I've met Sarah Sutton, Bonnie Langford, Katie Manning, but to meet this companion who was in the actual days of Doctor Who, it was just brilliant. So, the person who I met was Miss Yasmin Khan herself, aka Mandip Gill. And honestly, she was absolutely lovely. She really, really was. And yeah, it was lovely to meet her. I also got to talk to her as well. I said to her about being Doctor Who, and also I mentioned Hollyoaks too, because well, obviously I remember the day that it was announced that her, Bradley, Torzin, and Geordie were all going to be a part of the cast, and I actually said to her that I recognised both her and Torzin because they were both in Hollyoaks. So really, I mentioned that to her because why not? I mean, obviously you've got to acknowledge that they were in other stuff aside from just the one show that you love. So yeah, but it was really nice to talk to her. Not only that though, but I also got to hug her as well during the the photo shoot. But excuse me, as usual during the photo shoots, the staff, they were all like, "Ma, ma, 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 move along." It can't get any different than that, can you? It's never any different. But I also got her autograph too, which is here, and it says, "To Callum, lots of love," and that is really nice. I mean, just like, oh, cute. That's funny. But the next guest, now this one, not from Doctor Who. In fact, nothing to even do with Doctor Who. Not one thing. In fact, next one, Game of Thrones. Oh yeah. And I actually wanted to meet this guy as well because I've heard some very good things about him, very positive things. So, excuse me. Oh, blimey. So the next guest I met was King Joffrey himself, Jack Gleeson. Now, honestly, that was a surprise to me when I found out he was going. I was just like, oh no, Joffrey, that little share. I'm not completing that. But yeah, finding out Joffrey was going, it was really, really cool. Because a friend of mine, he actually met him previous. And yeah, I heard some really good things about Jack. And he was a really nice guy as well. In fact, before I got the photo with him, I went to his Q&A as well. And there was a bit of a tight spot with it actually, because Mandip Gill's photo nearly clashed with it, and it was like a last minute thing, just going. In fact, I had to pay a tenner for it. But no, I went to the Q&A for Jack Gleeson, and that was really, really good. So I I actually asked him a question as well. I said to him, out of all the seasons after he left, who did he miss working with the most? And he didn't really specify who he did, but he actually said that Rory McCann, who played the Hound, was like a big brother, and that was just really nice. And he mentioned Lena and Peter Dinklage as well, and the guy who played Jamie Lannister. He mentioned all of that, and it was really lovely. It was lovely to hear all that, and I got to talk to him as well. It wasn't a really big conversation, but actually I mentioned my background in performing arts, and he seemed really impressed with it. He said he was working on another project. I think he mentioned Liam Neeson being a part of it. So he also said about being on stage as well as the screen. So we got to talk about that, and that was pretty good. It was good to get it from another actor's perspective. Now, I also met another celebrity that day, but I couldn't get a photo with him because once again, there's like the restrictions about it, and also I was actually a bit late with the photo shoot, so I missed out on that one. But the the guy who I did meet was also another Game of Thrones character, and this one for me was quite a good one, because he wasn't in it for a long time, but we got to talk about it, and it was really good. So the next guy I met was actually, oh, excuse me, Rhaegar Targaryen, if that is his name. Yep, Prince Rhaegar, played by Wilf Scolding, and he was a lovely guy. He really was. We got to talking quite a bit. Mentioned Andor as well because I knew he'd been in Andor as well. Well, actually, I kind of noticed it. It was a bit of a surprise to me, but what he wrote on this, and it was really lovely. So he said, "For Callum, fire and blood, lovely to meet you, Wilf Scolding," and under that he put Rhaegar Targaryen. And honestly, that was really nice of him. He was an absolute genuine bloke. He was really kind, and yeah, it was great to meet him. And those were basically the celebrities for the Saturday. Because there wasn't many who I knew that was going that day. In fact, hell, you really should have seen the queue for this guy who was in Stranger Things or something. I can't remember his name. George something. But yeah, he was really popular. He was one of the diamond passes. But again, no diamond passes for me. Not this time. I mean, after the last time, whew, they're expensive as hell. Not that I could afford them though. But no, that was it. That was it for me. I got 3 photos on the Saturday, 4 autographs on the. Also 4 autographs. So 3 photos, 4 autographs. Missed out on 1. Damn it! It was the exact same last year with Paddy Considine, and yeah, I missed the photo with Paddy. I couldn't get it, which was a shame. But got his autograph, so that's really the main thing as well. It's that I got to meet them and that I got to get their autograph, which really means a lot because I love getting autographs. And then the Saturday night, I just chilled pretty much. But then the Sunday, which was the 5th of March. Now, there were some really big names on the Sunday. Some who I was even really, really impressed by. But before I show the photos, there's one autograph which I only got that day. I only got the one because, I was a bit tired, so I left the event a little bit earlier. But the autograph I got was for someone who I have met before. In fact, this man who I met was my very first doctor. And that was Colin Baker. So, got his autograph and I got to talk to him again. And this time it was different this time. So, I actually told him that, well, I told him about collecting all of the Doctor Who DVDs, like every single one. And, well, I actually told him that the reason why I'm going to these Comic Cons was because of him. And really, it's true. The reason why I do go to Comic Cons is because of Colin Baker. If I hadn't have found out that he was coming to Carlisle in 2017, I wouldn't have known about them. I literally wouldn't have known that Colin was there. And to meet him, he was my very first classic Doctor Who I met, but also the first Doctor Who I met, which, well, excuse me, it meant a lot to me. And honestly, I think there was a little bit of emotion as well there when I told him that. He seemed very, very grateful about it, and once again, he was just lovely. And maybe, just maybe, I might meet him again, possibly. But yeah, it was really great to meet him again. So, on to the next one. Now, like I said, I didn't get any more autographs, so it's just straight to photos this time. Now, this one was a bit of a mix and a mash. In fact, I only had 2 photos booked that day. Yeah. No, actually, no, sorry, that's a lie. I had 3 photos booked that day, but obviously Terry Malau couldn't make it, so I kind of had a couple adjustments, but it was worth it. And I also went to another talk as well. I went to a Star Wars talk today. Not today. I went to a Star Wars talk, so that was pretty good, and I will get to who was there. But my first celebrity photo of the Sunday, now, it is an absolute legend of a man. Complete and utter legend. Not only was he in Doctor Who, yes, but he was also one of the biggest stars of Flash Gordon and as Star Wars as well, playing Boss Nass. So, the myth, the man, the legend, Brian Blessed. Oh, yeah. Now, when I found out he was going, woof. In fact, tell a lie. I found out he was going last year when I was in London with Ben. We both found out then. He was pretty much announced literally right after the event. I wasn't sure whether he was going to turn up. But Brian Blessed, a hell of a face, and yes, obviously, do not mind the photo of him. He doesn't really look ready for it, does he? No, the photographer got a little bit too quick with the flash. Just a tad too quick. But then I had another photo, and this one was literally right after it. Right after. Now, this guy, no involvement in Doctor Who whatsoever. Nothing like that. But also another legend. In fact, one of the biggest film legends of all, I would say. He starred in Ted and Ted 2 as himself, which I didn't think would even happen. But not only that, he is the star of his own film. And I did mention that Brian Blessed was in this film. It was Mr. Flash Gordon himself, Sam Jones. I mean, what? Sam Jones. Legend. Absolute legend. I mean, yeah, I've watched Flash Gordon maybe once or twice. I haven't really watched it. I know. But then again, Flash Gordon, absolutely fantastic to meet him. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So, I also mentioned that I went to a Star Wars talk. That was like earlier through the day. I ended up meeting 2 characters from Return of the Jedi. In fact, there was also another familiar face there as well. Someone who I did meet previously in Carlisle, Paul Blake. I didn't see him this time round, but because obviously I'd met him before. But the 2 characters who I met, you know, they were absolutely lovely. I didn't go to talk to them afterwards because, you know, I was quite tired that day. So, you know, obviously it was a bit of a strain. In fact, if anything, really, I couldn't have even gone to speak to Brian Blessed. The queue was huge. Same with Sam Jones. Like, they were really popular. And, well, I don't know what it was with the Brian Blessed signings. They would only allow autographs and they wouldn't allow personalisation either, which was a bit weird. I don't get that. But this person who I met from Star Wars Return of the Jedi, she was only in it for about a minute or so, but she would have had a huge impact, and that person actually played the original Mon Mothma. So, the next person I met was actually Caroline Blakiston. And yes, I know there's a distance between the photo, but I think that was more because of like a COVID restriction thing she was wanting to do, from what I can gather. But no, she was a lovely woman, and during the Q&A, she actually said some really lovely things. You know, she was going on about how people should pursue their passions, and you know, it was just lovely to hear. She was really lovely. And the next one, who I got to meet, now this guy, I was kicking myself for this. I was honestly kicking myself. I did not realize that he was in one of my favorite films. He was actually in Mrs. Brown's Boys, the movie, as P.R. Irwin, and I did not realize it. So, I kicked myself, knowing that this guy was in Return of the Jedi and Mrs. Brown's Boys. It was actually Dermot Crawley. Honestly, that was a shock. Dermot Crawley. Complete and utter shock to me. I didn't even realise it was him. I was kicking myself for it. You know, when you realise it's someone right after years of watching something, I was just like, what? It was you. Ah, mind blown. Honestly, just mind blown. Oh my god, it was so funny in that. I even just after the photo was taken, I did actually tell him I loved him in Mrs. Brown's Boys. He just laughed at that. It was really good. And then the last photo of the day, and this one wasn't actually too long after it. You know, it was the last photo, and then I think I probably went after that because I was really tired that day. But the last photo for me was someone who was in House of the Dragon, and I was pretty impressed by this person being there. In fact, he was even the one who called out Rhaenyra's sons. Oh yeah, it was the man who got his head cut off by Daemon Targaryen and told that he could keep his head. Will Johnson. Now I wanted to meet him because I knew that he was in House of the Dragon. He was pretty good in it. I didn't really get to talk to him either, but you know what? It was still pretty good. You know, I had a really good weekend despite not being able to meet that many celebrities. Actually, no, that's a lie. I met a load of celebrities that weekend. It was really, really good. Julian Glover was there again, which was a bit awkward. Didn't get involved this time. But no, excuse me. For those who were there, it was fantastic. Like Sacha Dhawan, Mandip Gill, like Jack Gleason, Sam Jones, Brian Blessed, and I must say he can still shout. He has a loud voice on him. In fact, even Colin Baker was trying to match him. But no, it was a brilliant weekend. All in all, I really enjoyed it. It was good to meet more celebrities again because by God, I have got one hell of a celebrity photo album on my phone. I've got over 40. It is impressive. And yeah, I'm glad I went. And I might be going to another Comic Con at the end of the year. Well, near the end of the year in October. There's quite a few faces going there. But I might also be tempted again by London. But we will soon see. But nope, really enjoyed London again, and a hell of a great way to end my birthday. Like I had to travel back, and then I had karaoke on the night, and I was just so tired. I don't know how I did it. But no, that is London 2.0. And once again, it is great to be back. And yeah, I guess we'll have to keep an eye out for the next video, won't we? And I'm thinking my next video will probably be on the Twilight series. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But for now, thank you to everyone who watches still. And yeah, it's just brilliant to be back again. And I really hope to get back into this. And I'll see you all for the next video. See you later.